Listening to music can be a spiritual experience, whether you call yourself religious or not. Doechii's music hits on so many levels for me, and in this video, I'll be analyzing her Grammy award-winning mixtape, Alligator Bites Never Heal. I'll be analyzing this piece in multiple sections. This is just part one, and I'll be looking at it from my perspective as a professional writer, theater artist, hip hop head, and of course, as a Black woman. But first, let me say this. I am making meaning of Doechii's work in the same way that scholars make meaning of Shakespeare's writing or Van Gogh's paintings. Hip hop is and always has been art. For those who like to comment things like, y'all reaching, or it's not that deep, this video is not going to be for you. At its roots, hip hop is poetry of expression that leads listeners to introspection. In other words, good art is supposed to make you think. This video is for my fellow deep thinkers and hip hop lovers, all right? Since Doechii is new to most of us, let me provide some background. Doechii, born Jayla Hickman, is a groundbreaking force in hip-hop, celebrated for her bold, genre-defying sound and fearless artistry. Hailing from Tampa, Florida, Doechii, also known as the Swamp Princess, has quickly risen to prominence with her unique blend of rap, R&B, and experimental beats. Known for hits like Yucky Blucky Fruitcake and Denial is a River, she's a master of sharp lyricism and captivating visuals. She is signed to Top Dog Entertainment, TDE, the legendary label behind Kendrick Lamar and SZA. In 2024, she reached a career milestone by winning her first Grammy Award for Best Hip Hop Album, making her only the third female MC to win this category.
Ain't that about a bitch?
So I've been a grown woman for quite a while, y'all. I remember the impact of Lil' Kim's Hardcore. I remember crying at school when we found out that Tupac died. My first hip-hop album that I bought with my own money was Missy's Super Duper Fly on cassette tape. I let my tape rock till my tape pop. Shout out to Biggie. I say all that to say that sometimes it's challenging for me to relate to the music of younger, newer artists. But there's something about Doechii. She first caught my attention when I saw her snatch her wig off her head while she was performing her song Crazy at the 2022 BET Awards. I saw that and said, this girl is going places. Fast forward 2 years and I'm watching her Nissan Altima music video in awe. I loved the visual reference to the beginning of Kendrick Lamar's All Right video, but more than that, I was drawn to the articulation and the cadence of her flow, the grit and the uniqueness of her style, a mixture of tomboy and feminine, old school and new school. And on top of that, she's a dark-skinned Black woman. When we look at the history of female rappers who have made it mainstream, there aren't many darker complected ones, y'all. I can count them on one hand. Missy Elliott, Foxy Brown, Lauryn Hill, and Remy Ma. All faves of mine back in the day. The choice of hairstyle in the Nissan Altima music video, Doechii rocking Bantu knots rather than a weave or a bust-down wig, calls attention to her Blackness and her African ancestry. The cornrows she rocks in this era do the same. She is undeniably Black, dark, gorgeous, and oozing with talent. I am here for the representation, y'all. With female MCs, there's often the pressure to always present as the sexy, dolled-up sidekick to the male rappers on the label. This was first modeled by Lil' Kim in the 90s. While she had a commanding presence on her own and became a cultural icon, what first gave her legitimacy to the culture was her affiliation with the Notorious B.I.G. I remember when the demo for the song Queen Bitch was leaked and we all heard Biggie rapping her lyrics showing that he wrote the song.
Lyrically, I dust them off like ledge, hit hard like sledgehammers. Bitch with that platinum grammar, I am a diamond cluster hustler. Queen bitch, supreme bitch. Kill a nigga for my nigga by any means, bitch. Murder scene bitch, clean bitch. Disease-free bitch, check it.
Hip-hop fans took ghostwriting way more seriously than it's taken now. Folks assumed that she couldn't really rap, which proved false because she continued to make hits after Biggie died. Lauryn Hill had to prove her rap skills with the legendary group The Fugees before going solo. Even with more current female MCs like Nicki Minaj, her co-sign from Lil Wayne and being on Young Money is what first made the culture take her seriously. I love the fact that Doechii is signed to TDE, a label that allows their artists to be unique. As a theater artist, one of my favorite questions to ask is what if? This mindset informs the way I listen to music. Ooh, what if this line means this? And oh, what if the artist is actually making a reference to their previous project? I'm well aware that the answers I come to are as subjective as art is. We all make meaning of the art we see and listen to based on our own experiences and beliefs. For me, art is deep. It is necessary, and it takes on a new life once an artist releases it into the world. These are just my thoughts, right or wrong, just what I was feeling at the time. Shout out to Hove. I welcome y'all to share your perspectives and even your disagreement in the comments. Just keep it respectful though. Now let's get into this track by track analysis. This video will be focused on track 1 of Alligator Bites Never Heal, which is the song Stankapoo. The mixtape Alligator Bites Never Heal takes listeners along on Doechii's journey through self-love and acceptance while on her road to success. I've been focused for days on the opening lines of the first song, Stankapoo, where she says, "Let's start the story backwards. I'm dead, she's dead, just another Black Lives Mattered." The questions that came to mind for me are, 1, what is the story of the album? Is it linear or is it actually in reverse or backwards? And 2, who is the she that Doechii is referring to? As a trained actor, one way to prepare for a scene is to consider what we call the moment before. With that, you ask the questions, what did the character do or experience before the scene began? For Doechii's work, that led me to listen to her last mixtape, which is called Oh, the Places You'll Go. This mixtape is named after the famous Dr. Seuss book with the same name. Personally, it's my favorite book by Dr. Seuss, the only one that brings me to tears whenever I read it to my son. I want to read y'all my favorite part of the book that also applies to Doechii's journey to success. It goes, "You can get so confused that you'll start in to race down long wiggled roads at a breaknecking pace and grind on for miles cross weirdish wild space, headed, I fear, toward a most useless place. The waiting place, for people just waiting for a train to go or a bus to come or a plane to go or the mail to come or the rain to go or the phone to ring or the snow to snow or the waiting around for a yes or no or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone is just waiting for the fish to bite or waiting for the wind to fly a kite or waiting around for a Friday night or waiting perhaps for their Uncle Jake or a pot to boil or a better break or a string of pearls or a pair of pants or a wig with curls or another chance. Everyone is just waiting." No, that's not for you. How many of us are waiting on something instead of pursuing our dreams? Message! This made me think of Doechii's story about how she chose her name.
Some people like to describe Doechii as an alter ego, but I feel like that's inaccurate. Doechii is a state. I reached out of frustration, out of sadness, out of darkness. It's a place that I reached out of bravery, out of a strong desire to just learn and explore and to be happy. Doechii was kind of discovered or destined to me, I guess you could say, by the Holy Spirit. One day I was sitting in my room, was writing about my day. I was in the 7th grade at that moment. I just thought, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to feel angry. I don't want to feel frustrated. I thought to myself, I am me. These are my emotions. These are my feelings. This is my heart. This is my body. This is my mind. And if I don't want to feel this way, I don't have to. And the Holy Spirit revealed to me that I have control over myself. And if I don't want to feel anger or hurt or sadness, I don't have to feel that. And in that moment, I made the decision right then and there that I wanted to be happy and that I wanted to love myself completely. And I reached this state, something like euphoria. It was like a light bulb went off just right then and there. The Holy Spirit whispered in my ear, Doechii. And I wrote down on my paper, I am Doechii. I made the decision that I wanted to love me in that state of gratefulness, pride, and joy, consciousness, and enlightenment. In that state, I gave that state that I was feeling, that lifestyle that I chose to live, I gave it a name, and it's Doechii.
While Doechii says that she does not have a defined meaning for the title of the mixtape Alligator Bites Never Heal, it's important for me to break it down anyway. Alligators are a nod to her Florida roots, and when I think of bites, I think of the pain or the trauma that comes from one's upbringing or from their hometown. So what are the bites? On track 1 of Oh, the Places You'll Go, which happens to be the title track of that mixtape, Doechii recites a soft-spoken, vulnerable poem that starts, 7 years old, going on 17 centuries. I overheard things, observed things, and learned things. She goes on to say, now I can't unsee the scenes Mama tried to hide from me. I'd turn the volume all the way up, make my teddy bears fight and my Barbie dolls to drown out the screams I hear when I press my ear to this wall between us. And while my mama's only a wall away, I'm like worlds away of waiting hot lava. This seems to hint at Doechii being a witness to her mother possibly being abused when she was young. In her song Black Girl Memoir, Doechii shares more of these alligator bites. She performed this song so beautifully on her NPR Tiny Desk performance with the hook going, smoke some dope, forget the drama, get your bank and make your comma away, away. With the repeated line, make it go away in the chorus, she opens up about her experience as a dark-skinned Black woman. Make it go away, make it go away. I wish I wasn't dark so I could look like Beyonce. I wish I had a big ego like Kanye. Then maybe I could spit 3 stacks like Andre and we ain't gotta walk 3 blocks to do laundry. That line, I wish I wasn't dark, points to her experiences of colorism. It's so relatable. As a dark-skinned child, I too felt those feelings of inadequacy that come when you realize that people see something wrong with your skin tone. Growing up, I was called too Black or pretty for a dark-skinned girl, but when I got older, I experienced the other side of the coin, being fetishized for my dark skin, my Africanness, or my exotic features. Those are bites that take a long time to heal, y'all. The line about walking 3 blocks to do laundry points at the fact that she grew up in poverty. On the next song on Oh, the Places You'll Go, her first viral hit, Yucky Blucky Fruitcake, she mentions growing up on free lunch.
This is who I am from the back to the front. I never had to pay for my schoolhouse lunch. My mama used stamps when she needed a little help, but a nigga made do with the cards been dealt. These lines I feel really proud about. This is a part of like my childhood that I'm really, and my upbringing that I'm very, very proud of. My mom has done her best. I never missed a meal. I had clothes on my back, shoes on my feet, and I watched my mom do whatever it took to take care of me and my sisters. And so that's really just me paying homage and showing honor to my family.
Shout out to all my fellow folks who grew up on that free or reduced lunch. It's shameful that folks in higher places are actively trying to cut the budget for programs like that, but I digress. On Yucky Blucky Fruitcake, Doechii plays 2 characters. A narrator, that is a teacher asking Doechii to introduce herself to a class. If y'all have never heard this song, do yourself a favor and go listen to it. It's so good. She starts off introducing herself by saying, hi, my name's Doechii with 2 eyes. I feel anxious when I'm high. We see that same anxiety on track 1 of Alligator Bites Never Heal when she asks a succession of what-if questions. In Yucky Blucky Fruitcake, she raps, I get a little violent when I play the game of tag. On Doechii's first Breakfast Club interview, she talks about how fighting is part of Florida culture.
But that's like Florida culture. People just love to fight. I kind of like it too. It's kind of fun.
When the last time you got into a fight?
Actually, a couple months ago.
We see the references to fighting on Alligator Bites Never Heal with songs like Bullfrog when she raps, like a cable we jump hose. If a feeling froggy, tell her hop out. Bitch. Like a cable we jump hose. Twitter fingers get your whole life logged out. Bitch. It also shows up on the song GTFO where she interpolates Ludacris's Move Bitch. Move Bitch. Get out the way, bitch, get out the way. Yucky Blucky Fruitcake also reveals Doechii's bisexuality, where she has the lines, I think I like girls, but I think I like men, her competitive nature, and her love of non-traditional song structures, with my favorite part of that song, where her mama interrupts her after she is pleasing herself with, Doechii, you forgot to take the chicken out. One last track from Doechii's previous mixtape that I think is worth mentioning is God. If you're an artist in need of encouragement right now, go listen to that track. Before Doechii's big break, she read a book called The Artist's Way, and she documented her journey through that book on her YouTube channel. And this track is an excerpt from one of her vlogs where she reads a journal entry about her thoughts on God. Highlights of that track include: we must come to recognize that God is an unlimited supply and that everyone has access. God does not run out of blessings. Someone else receiving a gift from God is not one taken away from you. And I want to apply this and practice this in my daily life. Another quote I love is, receiving God's good is an act of worship, and cooperating with God's plan will manifest goodness in your life. God has lots of money. God has lots of song ideas, lyrics, strategies, acting jobs, lovers, friends, houses, etc. That is available to me, and by listening to the Creator within, I will be led through the right path, and on this path, I will find meaningful work. And let the church say... Amen, Amin, Ashe. Now that we've covered the moment before, let's dive deep into Alligator Bites Never Heal, y'all. First, let's look at the cover art. On the cover of Alligator Bites Never Heal, Doechii is seated against a rich dark green backdrop, looking poised and confident. She stares directly into the camera. She's wearing earth tones and her hair is styled in her now signature beaded cornrows. Cradled in her lap is an albino alligator, its pale complexion contrasting vividly against the deep green setting. The choice of animal is a deliberate homage to her Florida roots, as the American alligator is the state's official reptile and the symbol of its rich landscapes. The imagery on Doechii's album cover draws inspiration from ancestor Minnie Riperton's 1975 album Adventures in Paradise, where she too sits in a brown armchair posing with an exotic and dangerous animal, a lion. This Minnie Riperton album blends elements of soul, R&B, funk, and jazz, showcasing Riperton's wide vocal range and signature whistle register.
Do you wanna ride in?
Compare this to the song Boom Bap, where Doechii declares, say it's real and it's rap and it boom and it bap and it bounce and it clap and it's house and it's trap. It's everything. I'm everything. Similarly, Minnie Riperton's Adventures in Paradise explores love, sensuality, personal growth, and spiritual exploration. Now, let's compare this to the direct contrast of the cover art for Oh, the Places You'll Go that came 4 years earlier. This cover features more vibrant and fun colors, drawing inspiration from the Dr. Seuss book. Doechii rocks a blonde BAP-style wig and a metallic gold leotard. She stands profile to the camera with her eyes low. The cover art of Alligator Bites Never Heal shows Doechii grown up, confident, and stripped back. On this cover, we're seeing her rather than a persona or a costume. So like I said, I've been marinating on those opening lines of Stankapoo, where Doechii says, let's start the story backwards. I'm dead, she's dead, just another Black Lives Mattered. I asked myself the question, who is she? It's funny that Doechii's recent Grammy Awards performance started with that same question. Who is she? I believe she is the younger version of Doechii, or like I like to refer to, the bitten version. We hear this younger version of her in her ad-libs of Stankapoo. In her younger sounding head voice, a similar voice to the younger Doechii we heard on Oh, the Places You'll Go, she echoes some of Doechii's lines with her ad-libs.
Let's start the story backwards. And if I die today, I die a bastard.
Backwards. Die a bastard. Capper. That higher register of her voice also ad-libs Stankapoo. Who are you? Kangaroo. The song Stankapoo introduces us to who Doechii is, to her family, and the people who she's close to in her hometown of Tampa, Florida. With the first line of the song, she establishes herself as the narrator by saying, let's start the story backwards. Her using the phrase let's includes the audience and invites them into her story. I should also mention that let's start the story backwards is a storytelling technique that's been used in film. If you've ever seen the movie Memento, it does that really well. This also makes the album seem cinematic, similar to Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City, where the cover of that album describes it as a film rather than an album. But I believe the opening lines are actually a reference to Nas's Stillmatic song, Rewind, where he raps the story backwards. Nas says,
I spin this story backwards and start. The bullet go back in the gun. The bullet holes close in the chest of a nigga. He back to square one. Screaming, shoot, don't bleed.
The next lines are, I'm dead, she's dead, just another Black Lives Mattered. This lets us know where the story's going. When she says, I'm dead, it feels like she's referring to the current version of herself. Perhaps the she's dead is in reference to that past version of herself, that bitten self. Then Doechii says, and if I die today, I die a bastard, TikTok rapper, part-time YouTube actor. In his book, Think Like a Monk, Jay Shetty introduces the idea of writing your own obituary to evaluate how your life is going. I was perusing through Doechii's YouTube channel from before she was famous, and she mentioned that she's someone who's really into self-help books. I am too. With these lines, she establishes herself as someone whose parents are not married, famous from TikTok, and a YouTube personality. She then says, pop my shit than a muscle relaxer, intergalactor, worldwide capper. Popping her shit, talking shit is a theme that she brings up throughout this album. The reference to the muscle relaxer feels like a foreshadowing to the issues of drug abuse that she brings up later. Then she sings in a higher register, I dirty shoes and put them back in the box, like voila, the Looney Tunes back in stock. To me, those lines hint at her hustle. It feels like she's referring to the trickster nature of Bugs Bunny, but Looney Tunes is also a double entendre. There's the cartoon Looney Tunes, but then we think about the meaning of loony, that's crazy, tunes is music. So she's calling her music crazy or untraditional. Then Doechii raps, I'm Little Miss Stankapoo, Little Miss, who are you, little loose screw, fur hat with the kangaroo. Here she's introducing herself from her roots. Little Miss Stankapoo definitely sounds like a childhood nickname, bringing us to who she was before she left Florida and her music blew up. The Little Miss Who Are You nods to her feistiness. This also made me think of the movie Little Miss Sunshine, which might be a connection here because Florida is known as the Sunshine State, and if you've ever seen that movie, the little girl, the main character, Olive, wears a basketball jersey for most of the movie, which connects to the upcoming lines of the song where Doechii says, who woulda knew, who'da thunk it, who'da got the ball from Big Moo and who'da dunk it. Big Moo is referring to Top Dog's son, Anthony Musa Tiffetts Jr., who signed Doechii to TDE, and her being signed, I consider the ball and dunking it as her success. Then she switches gears by rapping, if this relationship was left to you, you'd have sunk it. Here she points the focus to a romantic partner, which shows up in the later songs on the project. Then we get some wordplay. Talking on my ass and that's my assumption, but that's my conjunction. I love this but scheme. I never thought I'd say that. We have ass, assumption, and but. Her saying that's my conjunction points to grammar. Schoolhouse Rock has the song Conjunction Junction, what's your function? Also, conjunction or conjoined means stuck together. So perhaps this points to being stuck in the patterns of a toxic relationship because the next lines are, I'm running back to you like a fat kid at luncheon, please. This indicates a back and forth in the relationship, running back to someone who isn't good for you. The please shows that she's over it though, which we get at the beginning of the song Beverly Hills, which starts with Doechii saying, it's done, it's dead, I'm not hitting him up anymore. Verse 2 starts with, I'd swallow my pride before I choke on my greed, show you my cards before I'd gamble my seat. This points to her principles. Swallowing your pride means making the sacrifices necessary to succeed. I interpret Doechii saying, show you my cards before I'd gamble my seat to mean that she'd spill her own tea before it could be used against her. Moving down a few lines, she raps, I'm just shooting the shit over some pretty production and it's still not enough if something needs more, something, something. This refers to her artistic process in the studio, the fact that she's particular about her music. She's an artist and she's sensitive about her ish. Shout out to Erykah Badu. Then she says, who's that creeping through my rear view? 30-something. Shout out to the Goody Mouth. Who's that creeping through my window? Bow. Nobody now. When Doechii says 30-something, she's referring to the fact that she's getting older. Turning 30 is a big milestone, and for a lot of people, getting closer to a new decade makes one reflect on what's working in their life and what isn't working. The next lines bring us back to the two versions of Doechii. When she raps, I'm not nervous, I'm just concerned for us. We then get to hear what I think is an anxiety attack over rap. What if I die Taurus? What if I die on purpose? What if it wasn't even worth it? What if I'm walking alone? What if I choke on this Slurpee? What if I make it big? What What if my car exploded while I'm casually pumping the gas and smoking a cig? What if my life was loaded? The speed in which these rhetorical questions come and the lack of breath shows up later on the album at the beginning of the song Bloom, where Doechii is kind of venting and she says, I'm constantly trying to remember, like, okay, you have to chase your goals, but you got to check in with your mom. You got to make sure your sister's okay. You got to make sure your bills are paid, and you got to make sure you have fun and time for you, time for your friends. And like, I just constantly feel like I'm neglecting parts of my life. Woo, that's relatable. I got to point out the comedy in her question, though. What if I die a Taurus? Because Doechii's a Leo. It immediately gets serious, though, when she asks, what if I die on purpose? In a recent interview, Doechii shared that she contemplated ending her life in middle school because she was getting bullied so bad. And that what if I'm walking alone feels like a questioning of faith. Like, what if God is not actually with me? The second verse ends with loaded pile of ish, whole lot of kitty, and a whole lot of bills and a whole lot of kids. That's it. I feel like this is a metaphor for what being famous looks like to her. Loaded also can mean rich. Loaded pile of ish may point at owning a bunch of possessions, where the next couple of lines point at having many men and women as lovers. The that's it hints that she's decided to go after her dreams. She closes with the lines, and if those are the only fears that I'll take to my grave, I'm pissing on you hoes, living or dead. These lines demonstrate self-awareness, that her problems are ones that she's able to overcome so she can succeed. The last line also reminds me of Cardi B's song Get Up 10, where she says, I waited my whole life just to ish on ninjas, climb to the top floor so I could spit on ninjas. Stankapoo is an awesome introduction to Doechii as a person and as an artist. We get to hear her lyrical ability, her singing, her fears, and her confidence. So we're gonna come to a stop there, y'all. I'll continue to analyze Alligator Bites Never Heal. As you can see, I dig really deep. If there is a specific song that you really want to hear me analyze, put it in the comments. And I'd also love to hear what y'all took away from this song. If you are still watching and you are not subscribed, hit that button, all right? And if you're new to this channel, welcome. Hey, I'm Farah. I love lyrics and wellness and all that. Like I said, I dig deep because this is what I do. I do this professionally with playwrights because I love script analysis. And that is just something that I'm into. I'm obsessed with words, y'all. I thank y'all so much for watching. And until next time, I hope y'all are well. Much love. Take care. Bye.
Let me tell y'all something. Aside from, you see this hat, you see this jacket, I'm a nice presenting woman. I'm hungry. I want to be the best. If I have 2 days, if I have 24 hours, I'm going to work my hardest to make the best performance because I want to be the best. Period. Don't let the jumpsuit fool you.